This 61 Impala looked finished. Good paint, straight panels, looked like a proper restoration. Then we started stripping it down, and what we found even surprised us. In this video, we're going to talk about what we found and break down some of those scenarios on helping you guys with your project. A car that looks finished and a car that actually is finished are two very different things. This Impala is the example. It had already been through 3 restorations before it got to us, and none of those restorations dealt with what was underneath. When the Impala came here, it was just in primer, quote unquote, ready for another paint job. Everything was there except it was in a million pieces, and it was pulled from the previous shop because there was some questionable cracks shown in this quarter panel. Initially, we started stripping down the areas that we had problems that we could physically see. The fact that we had a small crack on this quarter panel and the customer had relayed to us that that crack had come back through all 3 of the other restorations, I wanted to know what the culprit of that specific crack was. When we used a strip disc in this small area, it revealed that there was no metal there. It actually went through because there was a massive hole. When we found how much product was actually on the car, meaning primers, body fillers, several other coats of paint, we opted to strip this car down to nothing and ship this car to Eugene, Oregon to Metalworks, where they did a full acid dip of this entire car.
There it is. Look how thick that is.
When we were looking at the overall car when we got it, in my mind, the worst part of the car was going to be this back window roof section, because if you looked at a 61 flat top Impala and then you looked at this car, there were a lot of things missing. It didn't have a drip rail on it. It was ground off, and things just looked very false. Shapes didn't look uniform from side to side, and it looked like there was a bunch of filler in here. And it's a very common area, especially in these flat tops, to have an extensive amount of rust. There's a difference between a car that has visible rust and a car where somebody already tried to hide it from you. Here's how that happens and how you catch it. Common ways that we have seen people cover up rust is using body filler over rusted areas. This would be a great example. There was a hole, probably the $50 size, that they just completely covered over with filler. I have seen all metal used. I have seen fiberglass used. I've even seen asphalt, cold patch, inside of a Volkswagen Bug floor. You name it, I've seen it. We've seen road signs. We even saw a body file put in a Pantera door to plug over a side mirror. So there's several different ways that people will put things in place of because maybe they don't have the means or the know-how as to what needs to be fixed. Let's just say you sandblasted the car. Did you sandblast the car all the way till clean metal, or was there still hints of black specks down at the lower pits? Because those areas are the same as just covering up a hole. If you've ever seen a car where you had pictures and documentation of, yes, the car was stripped, it's because of the time frame between when they got it in primer and how good did they prep the metal that they put the primer over. Because if, number one, it's not neutralized chemically through acid washing or dipping, and if it's not media blasted to completely remove the lower pitting of that rust, it will slowly come back and haunt you in your beautiful paint job months later. When you take a car to a shop and you don't know what level of quality they're doing and they're not showing the transparency in their process, it's gonna leave questions as to what is actually underneath that paint. If you didn't physically see it and the shop didn't show it, how do you know it's there? You need to verify that it is clean if you're gonna have a car done. A lot of shops we'll put body filler in these areas around the window, because you're going to have the window sitting there, the rubber, the trim pieces that sit over, and you're never going to see these things slowly creep back and have problems. But even if those areas don't have moisture or water to them, if rust was present before it got coated, it's going to continue to grow underneath, bigger than what you see on the outside. One of the spots on this car that tipped us off to knowing that this car had a lot of filler on it was just looking at the body lines around the rear wheels. If you looked at one side, it had a nice curvature with a sharp line, and then you look at the passenger side, and that body line was okay for about 3/4 of the distance, and then at the bottom it just completely disappeared. Also, if you took a straight edge to the car, one side was flat and one side was round. Another thing you guys can do is take a magnet and start placing it around the car, and if your magnet doesn't stick, you likely have a ton of filler, because I've even seen magnets stick with a 1/4 inch of filler, and you're going to move it around, and wherever you have it where it's thicker, you're going to notice the magnet obviously has less pull than an area that has a very thin amount. This car, when we went around it, the magnet didn't want to stick very many places at all. And when we knew we were going to strip it down, because it had been restored 3 other times, the only way that to go was just to make sure that we have everything completely in bare metal. The lesson here is a good looking restoration is not proof of a good restoration. Once we actually started pulling and dissecting this car apart, here is what actually was found for the structure underneath this roof. This red piece in weld through primer is the exact same piece that we have here. You would not even know where to start making a new patch panel, because there is nothing to reference off of. When we got this car back from DIP and we start looking at what we had in bare metal, there was tons of small pinholes around the entire perimeter of this roof of rust. Now granted, you dip the car and it is neutralized rust. It's not active rust, depending on who you take it to. Eugene, Oregon at Metalworks, their particular process is completely neutralizing the rust. But we still have holes that we need to fix. We can't just fill over those holes. So as we started to cut and dissect everybody else's work, because there was no drip rail on the car when we actually started looking at it, it looked like they were attempting to shave the drip rail because they couldn't find this piece. Obviously, a 61 Impala flat top is a very rare car. I think there was only 400 of these made. Most of them were the Biscayne model, not a true Impala. But this particular car, because they were just shaving this area, they had overground, so even when you tried to use a welder and fill holes or cut out a patch, we could see in the side view, and what we saw was this piece here, which looked like it was sitting at the bottom of a lake. And we didn't have any reference points to actually make that part again. We have the ability to make that part, but there was nowhere to reference from. And knowing that this is a rare car, we knew that the Biscaynes were the same. Ironically, on one day headed to the post office, I found a guy selling Impala parts in his backyard, and actually had asked him if he had any parts to a 61 Impala roof flat top. This guy had just the back section cut off in a field upside down underwater, and it was just enough of a reference that we could use to make some pieces and use some pieces from that roof. So what we actually opted to do was dissect the donor roof. Well, actually, we dissected the car roof first, because it was so butchered and rusted that I wanted to know how things come apart. Where were they welded? How many pieces was in there? And we used that knowledge to then carefully dissect the donor roof using a Blair cutter and drilling out all the spot welds and slowly dissecting each piece, keeping in mind of what pieces we need and we cannot ruin and must be very careful on removing. Now, this lower piece, which goes up underneath around the window, we actually had enough of a template there that we could just cut the section out and make paper patterns to match it exactly, and we made brand new panels. But on pieces up here, it didn't necessarily make sense to replicate that piece when we could chemically remove all the rust, and through media blasting, we cleaned this piece up. So sure, it has a little bit of pitting, but we've completely got it to clean metal and then coated everything on the inside with a weld-through primer. A lot of guys think that through the dipping process, you're removing all of those protectants and coatings because that's what you would see in today's typical cars. But a majority of the cars back then were just raw metal underneath, and I almost guarantee 9 out of 10 are already surface rusty underneath, just in the way that they are before they dip them. So it's always good to just go through the process and dip it so you know you have something clean and something neutralized. Maybe you don't have this much rust, but it's just knowing what parts can we use, what parts do we have to find a donor car, and what parts do we have to remake through patterning. When it comes to making patterns to replicate parts, I'd like to think that through teaching the classes here at the shop, which by the way, we do have classes here. Check out sylvesterscustoms.com, where we have classes available throughout the year where we teach this stuff and how to break it down. But let's talk about the 3 different types of people that we have. And really, it's going to go back to your physical character, because if you're the type of guy who just wants a weekend driver, doesn't really have a lot of time, and doesn't really want to dedicate a ton to this car, you're probably not going to tackle something like this. You're probably better off just buying a car done and driving it and enjoying it for what it is. But if you're the guy who maybe you have a small repair and you're just needing some small guidance, then our class is definitely for you, because we're going to break down everything from simple repairs where we're just talking about TIG welding, MIG welding, metal finishing in patch panels, and how you're dissecting and making specific shapes on these cars. Or maybe you're a guy who's just crazy and wired a little weird like myself, who I don't feel like I'm some professional at this. I just am persistent enough that I will go to whatever length that it takes to figure out what it's going to take to make that part and then replicate it exactly as it is. And also a good candidate for these classes, because it is not going to be easy. It's not going to give it to you. It's going to take practice and effort, and you don't want to just jump into the car. You want to have some level of confidence built up before you actually cut into your project. And it's very easy to break these systems down on a welding bench with some scrap and get yourself some confidence before you just jump in and go, what did I do? And next thing you know, you're having to call us and bring your car down here and wait in line just like everybody else. So figure out what it is that maybe you want to tackle in your project. And if you hit a milestone, don't freak out. Just know that we are a class away through sylvesterscustoms.com to help you guys figure out what your roadmap on your restoration looks like to keep your project moving forward. So what do you actually take from this if you're the one shopping for a project car? We're not trying to freak you out and overwhelm you with this amount of work. We're trying to show you that even though the car is pretty and everything appears to be nice, it does not necessarily mean that things do not need to be thoroughly looked over. You are going to want to spend an extensive amount of time looking that car over, probably more than a car that already has the signs and you're already clued into giving that car a walk around. You want to be looking around windows, cowls, floorboards and toe kick areas, the rockers, inside wheel wells. Do you see patches of metal put over metal, or do you see things actually cut in and made flush where it was a correct repair, not something that is just lurking with rust below and covered over? We wanted to just shed some light into when you sometimes think you have a solid car and there's small little bits of rust, it's likely way bigger under the surface, and we want to make you guys aware of what you could end up dealing with and turn this into a huge project that you didn't want in the first place. Mike and I are trying to hit 100,000 subscribers this year. If you guys like this video or several others that we have made that helped you guys, it is 9 o'clock right now, and we spend a lot of time building these videos, and we would greatly appreciate it if you guys subscribe, share this video, tell a friend, and we'll see you guys on the next one.